So, in Legends of Runeterra, right now, control decks are certainly the meta. At least at the time of recording this, that's gotta be the case. You see so many different control decks on ladder, whether it be control decks that have Elnuks, control decks that have Karma, control decks with all these lifesteal units in the early game to prevent rush decks from beating them, or what have you. Control decks are absolutely the thing you see most often, whereas mid-range decks and rush decks are not the best. However, there are a few interesting rush decks that I want to see if we can try and make work today. They're not really meta right now, but if control decks ever get nerfs, hopefully they will at some point, then we could definitely see some interesting and fun rush decks work. I of course made up my own little rush deck with the Caustic Cask as well as the Phantom Prankster, which was a fun little creative combo rush deck. Today, I want to showcase something that's a little bit more real. This was a deck that was being used before we hit the control meta that we have now, and it's kind of interesting. We might be able to make it work today in a few games, but we will see. Kind of depends who we get matched up against. I am, of course, referring, though, to the Vladimir rush deck, the Vladimir Spider deck. So, when it comes to rush decks in this game, typically the way that you want to approach that is you want to flood the board with minions, typically minions that can deal direct damage to the enemy nexus, and also just as many minions as you possibly can. Because since in Legends of Runeterra, it's not the attacker that chooses to go face, it's the blocker that chooses how many units they want to block or how many units they can block, and only after the blocker gets to choose the defender, then you can start hitting face. Because of that, I don't think you're ever going to see the prevalence of something like Face Hunter in Legends of Runeterra. You are never going to see a deck that is so purely, exclusively dominating the ladder because it's able to rush down people and kill them super quickly, the way that you do in other card games like Hearthstone, and that's because you can't choose to attack. But if you flood the board, and especially with units that have abilities that deal direct damage to the enemy nexus, such as Crimson Disciple, if you do that, then you might be able to win in a rush situation. For instance, use stuff like House Spider, a 2-drop that will summon 2 units. Use stuff like Transfusion, which can buff certain units to save them and allow you to trade into someone who's blocking while not losing the minion that's trading into them. All this kind of stuff is pretty important. It's tough to use right. I'll admit it's not exactly the easiest thing to get going. However, that being said, you have an interesting win condition if you do get that going. Typically, when you see a deck like this, you'll see Jinx as the champion being run, maybe Jinx Draven, and occasionally this card, Crowd Favorite, where this is a card that's trying to have a full board. You want to have like 5 units on your board and then summon him, where he will be getting +1/+1 for every other ally that's summoned. So, the idea in a rush deck here is to fill your board with units, attack your opponent's face, then on turn 4, play him. He's a 7/7 with Overwhelm, if he's being played on a full board at least, and then you can win the game. However, there's another interesting win condition you can use, and that's Vladimir. Vladimir, my favorite champion in Runeterra. Vladimir's a really interesting card because he does not rely on gaining his ability from leveling up. When he levels up, he gains +1/+1 as well as regeneration. But he always has his ability, which his ability is when he attacks, for every other attacking ally, you will deal 1 damage to it and 1 to the enemy nexus. That means if you're attacking with a full board, including Vladimir, you're dealing 5 direct damage to the enemy nexus, where when you're a rush deck, by turn 5, that might be all your opponent has left. He's a really interesting win condition, and you guys know me. I don't know what it is. I just love the Crimson cards. I love Vladimir. They're so fun for me to play, so I feel like we gotta go ahead and play this rush deck. This was something that was being used quite a bit before the control meta took over, and if the control meta ever goes away, I'm definitely going to be playing this deck myself quite a bit. But let's see if we can still make it work in a few games up here in Master Tier. All right, so for game number 1, we are playing this up against a mid-range deck, and that is actually really exciting because that's what you want to see. You want to see, when you're playing a rush deck at least, that's your dream, is playing against the mid-ranges, because as a mid-range tries to develop the board, oftentimes you can rush them down and win the game before they're able to. So let's see if we can maybe make this work and actually get a win for our first match of the day. We have the attack token turn 1, which is really good for this deck because it does run Legion Rearguard, which is a 3/2. It can't block, but hey, that's 3 damage to the enemy nexus if your opponent doesn't put anything out on turn 1. Which we will find that out right now. What do you have, sir? Oh, he does have something, but that's something that we can obviously kill pretty easily. We'll go ahead and attack, and he will block it with Omen Hawk. Can't really do anything about that. Oh, or maybe he won't. That's a bit of a mistake on his part. It's kind of obvious we're playing a rush deck here just by what I did. Playing this guy always shows that, you know, that you're doing a rush deck. But there we go. We get the Transfusion, which is a pretty important card for us. I can see that's why he didn't block. He's trying to get some combos off and get his elusive board out, but I mean, this might be too late. I mean, typically when you have someone that goes for early game combos rather than developing their board, that's when a rush deck can really beat them and do well. I'll attack here right away because I don't have any units I can play. This also prevents him from doing anything. That way, if he does something like this, then okay, he's still gonna die, and I'm gonna save Elise by doing this. That's good to see that he also used the Elixir of Iron. Not only does that take away one of his mana this turn, but of course he now, I mean, he kind of showed his hand. He used one of his Elixirs of Iron, which is one of the few spells that he runs that can save him in a trade situation. I would almost have preferred to be able to level up the board a little bit more, playing another minion, another unit. Oh, he runs Inspiring Mentor, really? This is a card that doesn't really work anymore. The big benefit that it had when being run in elusive decks and buff decks for a long period of time beforehand, he was good because he was giving health, you know, he was giving tankiness. He was making it so it wasn't easy for people to deal with. Oh, that's going to be useful. Oh, shoot. How do we want to do this? Sorry, I got distracted there by that draw. That's a fantastic draw. Not only is this a 3/3 with Fearsome that we can use to attack his face, but it's also going to take away power from him, so he's not going to be able to use various different cards to block some of our guys. I'm not too sure what to do here. I kind of want to play the crowd favorite just to develop the board. He'll be a 5/5 with Overwhelm, which is still pretty solid. But it of course hurts to see us playing him when we could be playing someone else. He can go ahead and attack our face, I don't mind. That is perfectly fine for us. And then here we go. Time for a big old play here, and we might potentially try and win the game. It sounds ridiculous here on turn 5, winning the game and killing this guy who has 13 health on his Nexus still. But between Mark of the Isles as well as Transfusion now, if he does not block enough, then we could win. This will summon a spider. All right, so he obviously does have a lot of units, but he doesn't exactly have super easy trades.
This isn't part of the training.
So right now we're dealing 2 off lethal. What does he have? He has to block with more. See, and this is part of the thing too, is like, he's stuck in a catch-22. Does he want to block some of these units? Which doing so could potentially, oh, hang on, how do we do this? No, it doesn't matter. We're close to lethal, but we're not quite there. Shoot. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, we're definitely pretty far off of lethal now. Do I use anything here? I think I might use Glimpse Beyond. I think I might just settle for using Glimpse Beyond on the Spiderling that's going to die anyway. I could use Transfusion to buff Elise and kill that, or I could use, I could use a few different things. But I think I'm just going to use Glimpse Beyond. This is going to live anyway. We have good trades otherwise as well anyway. I'm not missing lethal, right? Because we can get +5, but we need 3 more. Yeah, we'll just do this and then maybe Vile Feast him next turn. It depends what he has at this moment. He could potentially just swing the game in his favor and win right here. Dependent on what he drops/draws, because he is right now like he has 4 damage on the board. He's not 4 off lethal because I can block this guy, obviously. I can also not trade him. I can also use Vile Feast to kill him and drain 1 health, which would help quite a bit. I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now, actually. Maybe I should be using those 2 on him though, because he's the one. Actually, that might have been a big mistake. I need to play slower. I could have used the 2 Vile Feasts on him, which would have possibly been better. Okay, now we have to do that. Hang on, does he win? We have 12. No, that's 11. He has 11 damage now because we do this. He's 1 off of lethal.
Let's move. I will play my part.
I don't think he runs direct damage in his deck. So we have to win here. Could we draw Vladimir? That would be beautiful if we did. Oh, that might be just as good. Because we can still play all of this. That was nice because that's a low mana drop that has a big impact here. Oh, no! Maybe I shouldn't have played that. Maybe I should have attacked immediately. I didn't think about that coming out.
Where are you going?
How much is he going to block? Is he going to block all of it?
It's too late for you.
Hang on. We can... Okay, so we can do 1... Oh, wait. So that's 6. So we could do... We need 6. Oh, we have it. We have it, right? That's it. He has no mana. That's already not getting the overwhelm anyway. So there we go. That should be it. A 9/8 Spiderling finishes him off. And good game, well played. So that was a little bit of a scary game, but you can see the deck that we just faced is one of the best decks in the game right now. But any mid-range is at risk when a aggro deck is being played against it. Doesn't matter if you're the best deck in the game, an aggro deck can always put pressure and out rush a mid-range deck, which is exactly what we did right there. So let's go ahead, queue up for another match, see if we can replicate that. All right, and here we are playing up against another mid-range. Now this is, of course, that kind of frustrating and, again, maybe overpowered Hecarim Elise with Rally and Demacia mid-range, but we might be able to beat it. I'm not too sure what I want to go for here. I might want to go Arachnid Horror, just because... If he drops Elise, then I can drop this, and then it suddenly becomes very difficult for him to make a play. But keeping all of this is kind of nice because I can flood the board and then get my crowd favorite out. Oh. Okay, so if we assume he's dropping Elise, we should probably drop this. If we drop Crimson Disciple, that would also be good because he can't, he can't trade into Crimson Disciple happily. But this is extra damage. This is 6 damage to his face. It would be 5 otherwise. So this turn we got to do the House Spider. If next turn we're doing the big guy. I'm not blocking anything. Am I? I could block with the House Spider. I could block the 1/1 that's summoned. Maybe I should drop the Crimson... Maybe I should have dropped the Crimson Disciple, though, because that, again, kind of prevents Elise from attacking. That's an interesting play. Do I still want to do the crowd favorite? A 5? Maybe not. Okay, I don't think I do anymore. I think what I'm going to do is him, and then attack. Ah, that is so annoying. Okay, this is really preventing us from attacking and being good or useful. I think I'm still going to attack with this guy because even if he dies, we can do the Vile Feast. That will still fill up our board so we can crowd favorite next turn. It will also clear his board and get something off of it. I don't know if that's entirely worth it, but I suspect it is. I'm getting a little bit worried because this is turn 5 and we have not gotten his Nexus down below half, which normally you would like to have done that by this point. Here we'll put the crowd favorite down. And he has to be very careful about attacking. Really want to do that? Yeah, rethink it. If he attacks with Elise, we can get 2 direct damage from the Crimson Disciple. We can also just kill the Elise with this guy. Yeah, so that threat is going to prevent him from actually getting more than 4 damage off on our Nexus. And then here we have a very scary attack. A very scary board. I don't know if it matters the order in which we attack. Ugh, that's frustrating. Oh, and I didn't even...
What's your hurry?
I didn't think. I probably shouldn't have attacked with her. Okay, that's not good. Let's just do... Ah, Shoot, that was a mistake. That was a bad play. You can't afford to make mistakes when you play aggro decks. They're such like min-maxy kind of decks that you have to do everything in your power to just be as efficient as physically possible. If you miss out, then game's over. He puts down Hecarim. I'm going to put down Vladimir, I think. I think I have to put Vladimir down. Now, what do we do? We have to do this, right? We could also do this. Is this better? Let's do this and then this. Because this dies anyway. And I don't think the Elise is that big of a problem. Okay, he does that on Hecarim, which is kind of nice. That kills him. It does kill our Vladimir, but could we just draw another Vladimir? Yes, thank you very much. Appreciate that. I think next turn we have to fill up our board and attack. Yeah. So we have to play Vladimir here. And then next turn fill up the board with everything and attack. Yeah, even if he drops another Hecarim, that doesn't matter. We might be able to win right here. Because of how everything's set up. And because of that fantastic draw. Yes. So I don't think it... Does it matter? No, we need to fill up the board. We need to play everything that we possibly can. Because we need Vlad to get as much direct damage as possible. If we fill up the board entirely, that's going to be 5 direct damage. That's still going to be 5 direct damage because of Elise. And then if he lets anything slip through by not having a blocker, then we will have Mark of the Isles to finish him off. This is still going to be 5. This is going to be 7 direct damage, including that.
Where's my axe?
And then we have the exact mana setup that we need. Oh boy. Does he have anything? So this is doing 22 before anything. And then this goes off first. So this is guaranteed to get the 2 damage off from Crimson Disciple. That doesn't matter, I don't think. Yeah, that's still lethal. Right? Yeah. We got it. Good game. Well played. Yeah, we made some... I'm making some mistakes with these aggro decks. One of the nice things about Legends of Runeterra compared to something like Hearthstone is that this game is much more skillful and there's a lot more room for error. Let's see if we can win a 3rd game here. Interestingly enough, it looks like we might be against another aggro deck. I don't know what to make of that. I'm going to keep the Arachnid Horror in case he has an Elise. We get a little bit of an unfortunate hand. We need to draw into a curve because we have 2 of our like win condition late game cards in our hand. But that's a fantastic draw.
Reporting in.
So here again, I'm going to put the Arachnid Horror down rather than Elise. Well, maybe I should. I'm thinking if I go Arachnid Horror, that's better for if he drops Elise. If he drops House Spider. No, that's fine because he has... Yeah, that's fine. He has Fearsome. It would have been better to drop Elise if he has Horror, but... Or not Horror. House Spider. Okay, he is committing very hard to clearing our board. That is a bit unfortunate, but not a big deal. I would rather him kill the 3-2 with Fearsome rather than the Elise. And then we still have a very good turn 3 here. Okay, there's... I'm not going to attack him, obviously. Or block him, rather. And, yeah, that's fine. Interesting. A guy that's running an actual Crimson deck and not just running Vladimir as a win condition for an aggro or mid-range. I got to respect that. That makes me happy to see. More people need to do that. So here I will go ahead and put down Legion Rearguard. Ugh, that's frustrating. That's frustrating. We got to attack, though. We're not going to win this game by not attacking when we're an aggro deck. We're still going to be getting 6 direct damage off on his face, at least. And then it depends on how he sets up his blocks. So this will be 9 direct damage to his face. he is going to be setting up very nicely to develop his board as well as hurt my Nexus with that dumb lady, who is also my dumb lady. But we have good win conditions. That is the worst card for this matchup. Oh my word, that is a bad card. All right. So, yeah, we just put Vladimir down here. And then we try and win next turn, I think. I could Vile Feast that and do Vladimir next turn, but I'm
Yeah, whatever.
please just attack with him. Oh my goodness, please just attack with him. Thank you. Okay, now we try and win. Now we just straight up try and win. So we first go with Vladimir. And then we go everything else. So once again, this is just the crazy combo that you get. The 5 direct damage from Vladimir, and then depending on how he sets this up, we can maybe Mark of the Isles and have the final blow to win the game like that. We only have Mark of the Isles this time. I really wish we drew something other than House Spider, because that was not what we needed. Oh goodness, we're so close. Hang on. Is there anything we can do to... There's not, is there? Oh no, we can win by Mark of the Islesing the Spider. Because the Spider's gonna die from the Vladimir thing. Does he have a way to stop that? He needs, like, vengeance. He needs to vengeance the Spider. Oh, we got it! Good game! Well played! Oh, that was close. That felt so good. I know, that was so exciting, wasn't it, Lucy Dog? Yeah, we had a bit of a quick video today, but that's kind of how aggro decks go. You know, the match is decided by turn 5, and you either win or you lose by then. But this is definitely a fun aggro deck. Aggro decks do have some strength. Generally speaking, we kind of talked about this a little bit already, but anything that has fearsome, anything that deals direct damage to the enemy Nexus, if you're able to get a good set of those cards, then you can, of course, still win a game and still have a kind of face hunter play style. However, they are not the best right now because of the prevalence of lifesteal cards and the prevalence of control decks. However, that being said, if there ever is a time that they come back in meta and become a lot stronger, then I highly suggest checking out Vladimir as a win condition because he's just such a fun card. I love him. He's my favorite card in this game. He's so fun. And I hope you guys had fun watching this video. I will see you all in tomorrow's video for our next deck showcase, but until then, thank you very much for watching, good luck in solo queue, and have a wonderful day.